Welcome everyone. My name is Ryan and this is Dwarf Fortress. That's right. The classic game, of course, is out on Steam, has been for a while now. I've got a few videos on my channel previously when it first launched on Steam, and I'm a big fan of it all the way back before it was out, when it was just a free game that was really hard to control. But with that said, I'm going to get back into it. We're going to start a brand new world, build a fort. It'll probably get destroyed, but when that happens, of course, we'll just start a brand new one in the same world, essentially building up a civilization. Maybe we'll even dive deep enough to get some adamantite, but eventually, too, I would like to maybe do an adventure run in the world too that we're going to create, which is totally possible, but I've never played the adventure mode, so that's something for the future for sure. But with that said, guys, let's go ahead and create our new world here. I do, again, have some familiarity with the game, but I'm no expert, and I'm playing it completely vanilla, too, I should mention. No mods currently, but if anybody out there has, like, some quality of life mods that you really like, or even content stuff, just drop them down in the comments. I will definitely include them in future runs. So, let's see, I kind of want a large world. History is fine. Civilizations is cool. Let's see, max number of sites, fine. I think we'll go medium, everything else just the way it is. And bring down the frequency just a little bit. I don't want it to be super easy. All right, let's create the world. All right, there we go. The world has been generated, and let's go ahead and play now. It should boot up in a moment. And there it is. All right. So like I said, eventually we'll do adventurer mode in this world. Hopefully I'll have the courage to try it, but let's see. Okay, we want fortress mode. Yep. This is the classic. And there it is. It's going to generate the first couple of weeks. It always does this, I think, every time you load up your fortress. But it's not that long. 2 weeks isn't really that long in game, but let's jump to it. Okay, here we go. We're going to skip the tutorial. Yep, we're on our own. So the first thing we want to do is specify some criteria specifically for our starting location. Let's see, actually, before we do that, can we zoom out a little bit? Maybe and take a look at the map? I know that we can zoom in. This might be the farthest we can go out. But it's a pretty big world for sure. A lot of nice mountainous regions. We got some islands over here. Those can always be fun and challenging. A couple of volcanoes. Also, fun places to start, but lava can be very dangerous to mess with. All right, well, let's just go to the find location. So, what we definitely want is a flexstone layer. I want no aquifers. River would be nice, but it's not mandatory. Soil, yes. Clay, sand, iron, yes. All the other ones I'm going to leave. I like it, I like the area. Maybe it forces us to maybe trade for some stuff if we don't have access to every kind of metal, But I do want iron for sure. All right, that's good. That's looking good. Okay, so we'll begin. Takes it a while because it's got several tiles. It's going to essentially rule out every space that doesn't fit this criteria and leave us with what's left. So let's jump to that point. Whew, all right. Well, took a while, but several minutes later, it is now time to pick a location, and it was worth it too. The large world took a bit, but it gave us a lot more options. So all these green squares. We can zoom in and check them out more thoroughly. So if we left click, let's see what these have to offer. We've got a hostile site down here. Actually, that's not hostile. Those are elves. Not necessarily hostile right off the bat, but that's okay. Let's see. This is only iron, silver, and copper. Wow, pretty sparse on the minerals. It's okay. Those are a good selection, If I had to pick a combination of 3 metals, you could do a lot worse than those 3. I mean, it has everything we want, but let's not be too hasty. Let's zoom back out and just look around a little bit more. There's a lot of civilization activity going on up here. Let's see, should we choose our origin? This will kind of show us, yeah, the locations of these. The theater of funerals, the paper of axes. They are much more consolidated there. Oh, these guys are pretty small. The flags of mourning, the geared clasps. Okay. Another relatively small one. I like the smaller sieves because then I feel like we're really contributing as we build up more and more fortresses. We're actually helping our civilization. The Pillar of Aces. That's kind of a cool one. And there's definitely a few options near them. So let's zoom into this portion. And okay, we'll say that's good. Clear. There we go. All right. Clay, deep soil, sand, iron, silver, copper, lead, flux stone layer. Love it. Is there any? Okay, here's one with the actual river on it too. So that's good. Yeah, iron, silver, copper, lead, flux stone. I like it. There's, yeah, sand too. All right, this is the spot, I think. Embark. Put that right there perfectly. Boom. There we go. Okay. And we could skip right to the map by going play now, starting immediate with default skills, equipment, and animals, but I definitely like to prepare my own. In fact, I was playing this morning for a couple of hours, just trying to get used to some of the controls again. But again, I'm no expert at the game, so if you got tips or tricks too for me, please feel free to leave them down in the comment section. But let's load up the balanced here. Wait, what? Okay. Good. I was hoping it would show us this first so we can kind of look through these before we actually start. Let's see. Oh, I've got 190 points left. Hold on one second. Okay, there we go. A little bit better now. I guess if there's not a certain kind of wood in the area, then you can't bring along types of items with that wood, which is interesting, but I think that's what happened there. Well, I didn't fully carry over my saved profile, but either way, let's take a look at the dwarves. See, those are probably the most important animals. I just brought some dogs, cats, a hen, and a rooster, and I like alpacas, so we'll bring some alpacas with us. We've got for items, just the basics. I've piled on a bit more seeds. I took off one of the axes because I only have one wood cutter. I also piled on some more plump helmet stuff. Let's see, yeah, and I had to replace some barrels and buckets that we didn't get thanks to that wood, but that's it for items. Now, like I said, our starting crew of dwarves, most important. We've got 2 miners, a woodcrafter, stoneworker, 2 farmers. One of these is our brewer, and the other is our cook, and then we've got our blacksmith, who is really more of like a jack of all trades. But like I said, let's look at these just real quick. So as a miner, I only put like 1 or 2 points. 2 points in there, so because they level up their mining skill really quickly. So I just put a couple in there to kind of get them started, but this guy is in fact our doctor too. So he's got 1 point in the wound dressing, diagnostic, surgeon, bone doctor, and suture too, and crutch walker. So that's his secondary. I like the miners to have like a backup duty, but one that's not like, doesn't take all of their time, you know what I'm saying? And hopefully we'll get another more competent doctor too, maybe have a couple on staff, but we'll just have to see. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. Now our second miner is our trader. So his backup job is just persuade, negotiate, intimidate, and appraise stuff. So that's his only other backup. Actually, I think I made one of them as an engraver too. Yeah, this guy has 1 point in engraving. I had a point left, and I was like, that's something I will eventually do down the road. But all right, so our woodcrafter is pretty straightforward. The only unique things I've done with him, other than giving points in wood cutting, carpentry, and wood crafting. Oh, I also made him the bone carver, but I went over to combat, and I made him a novice axe dwarf, and I also put 1 point in dodging. I remember reading this as a tip early on in my old days of playing, that you want your chi chopper to have axe skills, but also have some competence in dodging so they don't get crushed by the falling trees. That's what I heard. Confirm that in the comments if anybody else has heard that too. But other than that, we've got our mason. This guy's just like you would expect. He's a mason. He's got stone cutting, stone carving. Did I also make him the mechanic too? Yeah, so he's also our mechanic, just a backup job for him. Make a few mechanisms as we go. Now the farmers, like I said, they've got butchering, planting. This is our brewer. And I also remember we want threshing and herbalist, so they can, in addition to farming, these guys are going to be like our gatherers. They're going to go out into the wilds and gather our food. And the other one is a cook. In addition, did I make them a beekeeper too? They're novice cheesemaker, novice miller. I think the other one is the beekeeper, novice beekeeper. Yeah, so we can eventually start to get honey and make mead. So important for the dwarves to have good, delicious drinks. And finally, our blacksmith, kind of the jack of all trades. Well, really, he is focused more on like metalworking. So he's the weaponsmith, armor, blacksmith, furnace operator. Hopefully we'll get more dwarves to replace that, but also the novice metal crafter. Other than that, I don't think I gave him any other jobs. No, but there we go. So that's our 7 dwarves to start with. So let's hit this, embark, and jump into the map. Oh, here we go. Dwarf Fortress proper. It doesn't look like much yet, but this is our home. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit here. Control X. Yeah, the game is now kind of split between keyboard and mouse control, so I'll be utilizing the mouse a lot too, which is new for me. I used to play strictly with the keyboard in the old days, but that's okay. We can get used to it. There's still hotkeys that we'll utilize, but all right, yeah, and you'll see me scroll a little bit. I'm used to scrolling to zoom, but scrolling actually changes the depth, the Z level, so we can see the tops of the trees. It is actually better this way. I think I need to just get used to it, so I'll have to remember to, zoom in like this. Okay, anyway, so let's come out and let's first designate some of these trees to be chopped. There we go. I'm just going to pull a nice large square. There we go. So you can see almost, maybe not. Let me zoom in a little bit. Yeah, there's now a little axe symbol on the tree trunks, which are going to be chopped. And let's go ahead and set a zone somewhere to be gathered. Yeah, we want basically the same area. There we go. They'll gather all the crops around here. Good, good, good. And let's see. Okay, before we set up the mining, which is what we'll do next, I'm going to go in and put a zone or two. We're going to do a pen pasture zone. Okay, don't show me that again. I'm going to do that right about here. Let me zoom out, actually. Look at this map. It's pretty flat. The river is to the north of us. So I do like to kind of settle in the middle if possible. So this is a good spot. We'll have to dig a tunnel to the river, but we'll do that underground. So yeah, let's set up the pen pasture just like right here. Good. And eventually I'll build walls on the surface to protect our animals. But for now, this is just going to be kind of open. But this will keep the dwarves, force them to keep the alpacas and whatever brought the cart. Looks like a horse. All right. Yeah, they'll be centralized here now. And let's also, thinking ahead, let's put an animal training zone right here too. Again, just kind of thinking ahead for the future. All right, now that we've done zoning, we want to mine, but I'm going to adjust some of the jobs first. So we're going to come to our citizens, because as soon as I unpause it, these guys are not going to be assigned properly. So I want to make sure. What we're going to do is go to labor. And believe me, it looks like a lot. If you're a new player, there's a lot of information, and there is a pretty steep learning curve. But compared to how it was before Steam, this is like a kindergartner's Dwarf Fortress game. It's maybe not that extreme, but it is much simpler and easy to understand what you're doing. Either way, so we've got our labor. Now we're looking at the different jobs, and we want only the people selected to do these jobs. Miner, it's good, but if we go to woodcutter, yeah. Hunter, I'm not worried about hunting right now. See, for whatever reason, the planter is not set, so we will turn that on. And fisher dwarves, I don't want anybody fishing just yet. Plant gatherers, again, that needs to be clicked. Otherwise, if you don't, everybody will gather plants. Instead of like the miners going to mine, they'll just stand around gathering plants, because that's just like the general job that everybody's assigned to. But, okay, yeah, we want to put that guy there. Yeah, forcing them to only do the jobs they're assigned to, it makes it a more specialized thing, which is much better. Actually, I'm going to not worry about engraving right now. Hauling, I think I'm going to turn everybody to haul except the miners. Yeah. And orderlies, that's just our doctor, so only the doctor. There we go. I might have to adjust the hauling. I don't know if that's going to work the way I want it to, but we'll see. We'll see. I hope they don't prioritize hauling over their other jobs. All right, now it's time to break the earth, strike the ground, whatever you want to call it. So I like to go underground first, dig out a nice extensive subterranean base, and then we'll start to build up our ground fortifications. But we also want to be able to lock off the underground portion from the top. So in order for maximum security, I'm going to grab the stairwell. We're just going to start with 1 by 1, and we're going to go down a layer. There we go. And that's it. That's all I want for that first stair. So in what this allows me to do is once we get a stonemason hut workshop up, we can build a hatch cover and block this off, and we can lock the hatch too. So if something nasty spawns up here, we can order the dwarves to go below ground and just seal it off, until we get the surface fortification. So that's why I don't do like 6 different staircases, but we are going to have more of like an elaborate staircase, yeah, going down. There we go. We'll take it down a couple levels. Don't want to go, maybe we'll come up a couple. Don't want to go too deep and extensive. I messed that up. Yeah, we want our miners to have constant duties, but at the same time, I want them to be available to mine out like really crucial areas. All right, so yeah, for now we're good. I'm going to do underground farming, so we're not going to set up any farm plots yet. Eventually, we'll probably farm on the surface, but yeah, I like to get my walls up. All right, let's unpause it and watch the dwarves go crazy working. There they go. Okay, good. The miners are going below. Yep, this guy's gathering. This dude's chopping trees. Hopefully he doesn't kill anybody or get himself hurt. All right, let's go below. They're doing good. I'm curious about what the material we're looking at is. So this is dolomite, that's stone. Okay, this is a clay layer. Then we've got sand above it, and then silt, and then the surface. Okay, so surface, then 1 down, and then the second level down. Below the surface, I'm going to start mining a bit more. So let's do this. There's a very specific way I like to set up my hallways and stuff. Let's see, this is something I used to do all the time in the old days of Dwarf Fortress. Okay, so we've now got a nice little central hallway hub, and what we'll do is we'll split off rooms from this. So that's 6 by 6. Let's do it like this. So I like 7 by 7. Let's go with 7 by 5 though. Yeah, this will be good. And then we can connect these with doorways here and here. Maybe they're even connected to each other over here in the back. Good. Let's make a nice long kind of 7 by 11. You don't want to go too big because the roof will cave. I don't know the exact dimensions you can build, like the biggest you can build without the roof collapsing, but I know that 7 is close enough to each other that it won't collapse. This will be our stockpile here. So these 2 rooms will be like, maybe this will have the kitchen and the brewery, and then down here we can maybe start some of the agriculture stuff right there. Good, good, good. And since this is just sand, it won't take them very long to dig this out. So, all right, let's unpause it, go back to the miners. Yeah, let's actually look here. What do we got? Tetrahedrite. Okay. That's as far as we've gone. Dolomite. Any other minerals? What is this? Tetrahedrite. We've got some agite clusters. Yeah, lots of minerals. So far, nothing really super special, but All right, so while they're mining, I'm going to come up another level. So we're at the surface and then down one more level. I'm going to set up another little mining operation. This one's a bit less priority. In fact, let's come over here and set this to a 5 priority so they don't worry about this quite as much. All right, we're going to make a nice 7 by 7 here. And we'll do a 7 by 7 on this side. These are essentially going to be dumping areas for bones or refuse and stuff. These will be our garbage stockpiles right at the very surface. You know, maybe we'll even do like a vent at some point, have like a grate, because corpses and stuff will rot and create gas, which your dwarfs don't want to smell. So also we can put doors on here. It's just, I like to have them right near the surface. I feel like that's the best place. All right, so that's almost done. Excellent. Let's pause it real quick. We're going to set up our first stockpile so that they can start moving things from the wagon here, because eventually we want to get all the stuff out of the wagon, bring everything below ground. I like to be able to completely seal myself off from the surface if need be. Total self-sufficiency, dwarves. All right, so over here, let's go to our stockpile. We're going to place it, wait, plus, there we go. I like to leave a gap between the walls for a stockpile like that. I like the dwarves to be able to walk around it if need be. It's just how I do it. So we'll accept that. Now let's come in here and make a custom one. I'm not going to put every single thing in here, but we will kind of make this our default for most stuff. Some of the stuff we don't have yet, but we'll just, like I say, actually, let me do all. Maybe this is more efficient. And then I'm going to take wood and say none. And I'm going to say no stone, because we're going to put so much stone and wood that it'll just dominate the stockpile. Also, we're going to have separate food ones. But I think everything else is good. Yeah. Like I said, pretty general. But there's a couple other specialty stockpiles that we'll make down the road. So that's good. And we could just exit. That stockpile should be set now, right? Yeah. All right, we'll unpause it again. We should start to see some people bring stuff down. Beautiful. Now, let's pause it one more time. All right. It's good to prioritize our food and water stuff. Even though I did start the caravan with enough to last for a little while, let's go ahead and get that built. So we're going to do workshop. We'll come to farming. And first things first, we'll start with the still. For the dwarven purposes, the still is more important than the kitchen. It really is. All right, and another one, but we will set up the kitchen next. Wait, no, that's not what I want. There we go. Workshops, all food related stuff is under the farming category, and kitchen. We'll put that right there. So we've got our still and our kitchen in the same room, and this window is just asking me what materials are available that I want to build it out of. For most buildings like these workshops, it really doesn't matter. It's just whatever is like closest. But some building materials will matter, like our walls and stuff. Okay, so those are good. Down here, let's get a real quick and dirty farm going. Doesn't have to be... There's a certain way I like to set these up. So back to workshops, farm plots. Again, it's not going to be big. We're just going to do a couple layers. Oh, I need to turn on a certain command here. Workshops, farming. Over here, I'm going to hit keep building after placement. It's just really handy to have that. All right, so we've got 3 little horizontal farm plots that need to be built. That's fine. We'll let our growers do that. Now, let's actually go back to this real quick. I need to further refine this stockpile. Okay, so we go to custom again. Actually, no, I'm wrong. We don't need to. What we're going to do is we're going to set up a new stockpile. Okay, and we're going to put it right between these. There we go. These count as the same stockpile. One thing I like about Dwarf Fortresses, unlike RimWorld, the stockpiles don't need to be touching for them to be considered the same stockpile. So that's acceptable placement. Now let's go in and customize this. Everything is turned off except for seeds. All. The only thing I want in this little area is seeds. Okay, good. Let's actually define... That's fine. Okay, good, good, good. And unpause it. So we should see our farmers come over here and start to work on the plots. Yep, they're putting like refuse and stuff in there. Actually, I think it's just veggies. I thought I told them not to put food in this, right? Oh no, I messed it up. Wait, none. Yeah. Yeah, I messed that up. That's okay. We will need a good food stockpile too. So, let's pause it for a second. Where's my miners? They're working on this. That's fine. We'll prioritize a new mining operation. Set that to 4. Continue down here. So the hallway, I actually do want to continue. We'll say like right there. Yeah, we want to make sure that the hallway does split off. Okay, that's good. Let's do... Actually, let's do something like this. This is going to be a stockpile for food. So I do want it like right next to our kitchen and still, and it needs to be fairly big. So 11 by 7, that's a good chunky stockpile. We can create a door there, and then we'll put a door right in between our... Yeah, good. Give us access. In fact, let's go ahead and clear this right here. Boom. That way it'll remind me that I want this section as a hallway, but they won't build that. They won't dig it out yet. It's just a waste of time doing it right now. I want them to prioritize opening this up. All right, so we've got a stockpile. These aren't finished, but that's fine. Let's go deep. We'll go a couple layers down. So now we're in stone here. We're going to designate even more mining. This is going to be priority 4. All right, let's set this up. I like these little hallway circles around this. I like to have a nice, everything kind of centralized around the staircase, you know, because the dwarves go up and down. I'd almost think of like the stairwell as like a long vertical hallway, if that makes any sense at all. All right, there we go. And of course, as we go deeper and deeper, you know, the central staircase will remain in this position and we'll just build off of it. Yeah. So this is eventually going to be, in fact, pretty soon. Did they finish these? No, that's fine. That's fine. Oh, they did finish this. So let me pause it real quick. We'll set up one quick stockpile. This won't take long because this one's just going to be for food. That's good enough. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Except, let's go in and, oops, custom. Just select food. All things except not the seeds. Yeah. Obviously, we've already got a stockpile set up for seeds, so that's good. That's good. We got that going. Unpause it. Surface, our little kitty cats, they're running around. Cats are great for like catching vermin and stuff, but we need to get our chickens underground and into their own little room, which I'll probably set up down on this level here. This is kind of our food production level, in case you haven't realized, right close to the surface. But all right, at this level, we're going to set up our workshops and stuff. So let's lay out some more mining. I'm not going to connect it. Again, this is, what's going on? Oh, this is stair mining. Hold on. What am I doing wrong? Hold on, I gotta pause it. Something's not... Oh, there it goes. Yeah, these, I'm just laying it out to remind me. I want, like, hallways. This will be one of our most developed layers, meaning we're going to dig out a lot at this level. We're going to have workshops down here. I'm going to do little... Is that going to work? Yeah, little 4x4s like that. And these will be for, like, the mason will be in here. Then we'll have the woodcutter's shop over here. And then... Actually, let's bring these out. Get rid of those. What I'll do on these hallways, we'll set up more mining orders. Let's prioritize these as a 5, but this is going to be, we'll say 7 by 13. Yeah, those will be nice big stockpiles. In fact, let's turn that one to a 6. We kind of staggered the priority of these. There we go. Awesome. Return it to a 4. Let's connect this hallway. It's good to have multiple doors. Sometimes there is good reason not to have like a whole bunch of doors to your workshops, but we won't worry about that next or right now. All right, that's fine. Yeah. Okay. Unpause. I think there is one other thing I want to do as a bit of a higher priority. So we've got this level here, then we come up, there's nothing here, and then we got our farm level, and then of course the surface. But at this, between our farm level and our workshops, we're going to set up like our administrative level. So we're going to have offices here. And in fact, I'm going to pause it again. I like to pause when I'm laying out my mining. That way that my miners don't get ahead of me and they're sitting idle, basically. So I am going to prioritize this a bit higher, actually at the highest level, but I'm not going to get too crazy extensive with it. In other words, I just want them to dig me 2 offices out of here. We'll do a 3x3, 3x3. One of these will be for our leader, and the other will be for the fortress manager. You do need a manager so that we can actually start setting up work orders and they can count our inventory levels for me. So if you don't have a manager, there's a lot of things you're like locked out of. It's really cool. All right. So anyway, we've got 4 priority. That's good. Yeah. Unpause. We should see the miners come down here immediately. At least one of them will. Yeah. Beautiful. Now let's go below. Oh, that's above. Good, they're sorting everything out. We got our seeds. Oh, okay. So they did get the farm plots made. Let's assign these crops and to fertilize every year. I'm going to do plump helmets, dimple cups, and we'll actually do 2 plump helmets. That's what I spent the most on. Or brought the most of, I should say. I also think we need to extend this a bit more. Let's go to priority 6 on this. And I'm going to set up a rather large, farming area. You don't need a lot of farming, just this amount, just a few more plots will like keep this fortress going for many, many months for sure. And of course we can trade for maybe some food that we don't have. All right, that's good. Still at a priority 6. We're going to link it up right there, and then we'll also link it up right there. Maybe right there. It's a big room. Multiple entranceways. Okay, reset that. Let's go to the surface real quick. One thing I like to try and do, because I will often forget, is set up the trading depot. There it is. It's its own thing, and it's so crucial to get this set up before the traders arrive, because if you forget, as I've done many times, the traders will just pass you by. They're like, oh, you don't have a trading depot. I guess you don't want us to stop. So they just keep going. And you do miss your first trade route with them. So we're going to avoid that by getting this baby slapped down real quick. Good. So that'll get worked on. Now, there's also one other surface thing that I want to get a head start on. And it may seem crazy, but I'm planning ahead for the future here. So we're going to go into build constructions. And I'm actually going to lay down the bridge. Just the bridge, because eventually we are going to wall the surface off. But I've found in my experience, and maybe this isn't true with the Steam version, but for whatever reason, the mason, if the fort has developed for too long, he won't prioritize building the bridge. Like, he'll ignore it. So one thing I've just found to alleviate that problem is to get the bridge built like as soon as you can. All right, we'll make it out of stone. There we go. And I did select it to move, and I hope, and I think I'm understanding this correctly. Yeah, we'll see. We'll have to test it. I think it's right, though, because I can kind of see the gears here. Or like where this is going to, so it's going to hinge here and move up. So it's a little bit hard to maybe imagine what's happening there, but once it's built and we get walls around it and I can open and close it, we'll be able to see if it's correct. Hopefully it is, because by that point it'll be kind of a pain to replace it. All right, things are happening. Let's see where our miners are at. Oh, good. Okay, so he's opening up the first workshop space. Let's get that built right away. First workshop, for me is always the carpenter. Put that right in the corner there. Get out of some wood. And the next one will be the stonemason shop. In fact, let's prioritize them to do this. Yeah, because all of this is the same priority. If they just prioritize this one room, then I can get the mason workshop up a little bit quicker. All right, so I think the carpenter's probably working on the trade depot right now. Yeah, this guy's going to come down below in a moment. Okay. Let him work on this. Flash in between the levels. I do kind of want these to be prioritized next. Let's go back to our mining, and we'll set these to a 3. We do need to set up like our refuse stockpiles sooner rather than later. And there was a way that we could set the different levels to hotkeys. That might be something I'll have to figure out off camera, because that's just me looking through menus. But there used to be a way where you could just like hit shift 1 and it would take you to the surface. Shift 2 you could assign to like in the next layer. Although scrolling is helpful at times, I would just be able to like have hotkeys for these levels. But either way, okay, so that's good. Let's get the mason shop. Is that what it's called? No, the stoneworker. That's what I'm looking for. All right, dolomite. That's fine. Good. We'll get a couple more. We'll put like the mechanic shop here and the crafting shop. Now, where is my woodworker? This guy didn't get injured, did he? Cancels construction. Or suspended construction of the carpenter's workshop. Item blocking the building site. Okay, so that's why it hasn't been built. Let's resume construction, see if they do that again, or are they going to cancel it again? Sometimes issues arise. Okay, it's paused. There we go. All right, while we're waiting to see. Okay, looks like, yeah, he's working on it now. Sometimes you got to check. They'll pause constructions or do weird stuff. You don't know what's happening. All right, let's lay the crafting workshop. We'll do that out of stone. And what did I say the other workshop we wanted was? I think the mechanic. Yeah. This will allow us to make levers and switches and get that bridge working. Okay, good. So let's see. We're going to have to do a couple of manual tasks just until I get the manager's office set up. So let's make a chair and let's get a table. Am I missing a table? There it is. Chair and a table. We're going to make a bunch of stuff, but like I said, most of it will be set up through our work orders. And over here, still being worked on, this, we want a door. Actually, for now, I'm just going to have to make infinite doors. For now, we'll turn that off once we get the work orders. All right, good. Yep, there he goes. Making us some tables. Those are going to be prioritized for the offices right here. Yeah. Because once we get the offices set up, we can assign the dwarf manager, start to get to work. Okay, let's pause it real quick. I'm going to order more farm plots laid. We might not use all of these right away, but it's just so important to get these laid so your farmers can get working on them. Because eventually the farmers are going to be splitting their time between the still and the kitchen and farming. So it can be a little bit over demanding on them. It's hard to get them to do like new crop plots later on sometimes. All right, that's good. Okay, good. We've got our zones up here. Do we have any doors yet? Let's see. I literally just told them to build it, but maybe we got some doors up. We have one door. Actually, let's hold off on placing that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something weird here maybe, and let me know, experienced players, is this really necessary or am I overthinking it? I'm going to use a zone here for the garbage dump on this side. Accept that. So that's just garbage. And then we're actually going to set up a stockpile on this side, right? And we're going to sort it for refuse and corpses. Because I think that's kind of essentially different things, you know, especially the corpses. I don't know if like a fresh corpse would be thrown into like whatever this zone was here, the refuse zone, the garbage dump. But either way, now we will get doors on these at some point, but like I said, the first priority is this. So let's unpause it, allowing our miners to work. I'm going to hit B for building. I'm going to hit the doors. Oh, what? Oh, I think I already placed that door by accident. All right. It's all right. Farms are going strong. I'm not going to set up any orders with the still or the kitchen just yet. All right, he's working. I need to set up more tasks here. Let's get step ladder. Let's do a weapon rack. Let's do another table and another chair real quick. All right. I think that was enough time maybe to get these built. So let's go furniture, T for table. Yep, we got one table. Let's go B, F for furniture, R for chair. Nope, we don't have any chairs made yet. Did I not set any up? I know I just set some wooden ones, but... Oh, I had to make doors. All right, let's get him... Turn that off. Let's add a new task. I'm going to have him make thrones for now. All right, good. Things are coming along. Oh, we don't have any beds, so they're going to be a little bit upset by not having a place to sleep, but that's not the end of the world. All right, I think our miners are probably idle. By the way, if we want to check that, let's pause it. Go to open tasks. Labor tasks. I'm not sure why it doesn't show the full list of dwarfs here. Like I guess several of them are. Okay, yeah, they are idle. They have no job. Okay. So, a couple things we can do for that. Let's look at the surface real quick. I'm gonna zoom out just a bit. So let's have a bit more wood chopping done. Good. And let's also get some more gathering done up here. Good. Let's zoom back in a little bit. It's not letting me. There we go. All right, where's our entrance? There it is. So I think what we'll do is we'll set up a stockpile, not super big, but just over here on this side. Actually, we'll kind of move it out of the animal zone. This is just going to be for all the wood. Except wood. All right, that'll at least give our people who aren't working, give them something to do. Now let's go below, and we're going to designate a bit more mining. So what is this set to? 4 and 5. All right, let's prioritize these stockpiles here in the back. And we'll start with just one at a time. There we go. Got a couple extra doors. Beautiful. In fact, let's go ahead and tighten this up a little bit. Don't need that extraneous bit of hallway yet. Like I say, eventually this will be our most developed layer because we're going to have the metalworking down here, the coal production, the furnaces and stuff will probably all be down on this level, but we'll still have a whole new level, even lower for our sleeping quarters will be on a different level. And then I'll probably go a couple levels below that and set up our crypt where we'll have coffins for the dwarves that fall, because you don't want to let dwarves' bodies just rot, because then they will turn into ghosts and haunt your other dwarves. So we want to avoid that. Now, let's see. What is this guy making? All right. Let's add a quick task I've forgotten. Hatch cover. That's what we're going to use to seal off the surface. Yeah. So we want that rock hatch cover. He's making thrones. All right. Did we get the tables and everything? We really got to get this stuff laid. Furniture R. Beautiful. We got some chairs. Let's see. B, F, door. Awesome. Get the door there. Awesome. Actually, let's put a couple of doors here. Seal these off. Excellent. All right. Yeah. And next, actually, I've got an idea. I forgot about the chickens again. So let's get a quick level 3, because this is sand, doesn't take long. Let's put just a nice little poultry room like right here. It's actually a little too big. Yeah, it doesn't need to be super big. Okay, it's a bit of a mess, but that's okay. All right, and yeah, let's wait for this to get built, because as soon as this is done, we got to assign that manager. I have to start placing work orders. Otherwise, I'll be spending forever just opening up the workshops and placing individual items. And also, we can start to get foods made and prepared. All right, they're probably laying doors in other places and stuff. Yeah, I think actually all our haulers right now are moving wood. So I should have had them lay that out first. Okay, good. Dude's working. All right, I don't think we have to have the door on it, so how does this work? Let's pause it. I think we do. Yeah, it's a zone. It's all coming back to me. Accept. And now we want to add the dwarf. Okay, I've forgotten which dude is which, so let's go to tasks, labor. Where was the guy with the counting? Wait, I've got an idea. We can add a new job, right? Engineering, bookbinding. No, that's not it. All right, let me see if I can identify the proper dwarf here. Okay, here we go. So, yeah, I forgot. If we go to our citizens tab, and then we go to nobles and administrators, you can see our leader is already auto-slotted in, but we've got a spot for a manager, and then it brings the person who's most qualified to the top of that list. So this is our organizer, the blacksmith. That's right. I just forgot who I had set up. And now it'll tell us what they desire. So this guy needs an office. So now we'll come back to this. We want to click on the places. That brings up the training pasture, the dump that we set, and the new office. So zoom to that. And let's add a dwarf, the manager. Boom. So we now officially have a manager. Let's unpause it. We should see him come over. He'll usually spend a couple of seconds, hanging out in his office, and he's just like counting the inventory and stuff. But most importantly, I think we can go to our work orders now. Yes, and we can add work orders. If we had come to this window previously, before I just did what I just did, it would say there's no manager assigned. So we wouldn't actually be able to do work orders. But now, okay, it's paused. I can come in here to my carpenter's workshop, and I can tell him to make beds. I mean, we can tell them to make anything, but it's just so much quicker and easier. Where the hell are the beds? Oh, very top. So let's adjust this. Right now, it's just 10 out of 10. They would make 10 beds. The order would drop off the workshop. But what I want them to do is keep 10 beds always in stock, so that if I need to expand for like new dwarves who show up, we'll be good. So instead of a one-time order, I want it to restart and be checked daily. We can also have it checked monthly, seasonally, but for right now, we'll have this checked daily. Very good, very good. And our manager will do that. All right, and I'm going to go through and set a whole bunch more work orders. I mean, not just for the carpenter shop, but we're also going to set some up for the stone workers. Yeah, he's going to be churning out doors. He's also going to be churning out coffins and treasure chests, or like little chests. That's what the coffers are for. All kinds of stuff. We'll need him for statues too, just for the beautification of the fortress. And in addition, like I said, we've got stills. Yeah, so there's just a whole bunch of these. Next time you see this work order screen, it is going to be filled. So let me go ahead and do that right now. Well, there we go. As promised, I've filled it out, and there's still a lot more I could add. I mean, we just don't have all the workshops yet. In fact, I have added a couple orders for something we haven't even laid yet, and that is the farmer's workshop. I kind of forgot about that building. So, let's extend, I think the best thing to do is, yeah, we'll extend this room here out a bit more. Yeah, that's fine. We'll get a couple more little workshops put in. Actually, let me do it like this. I'm going to have just a little doorway. All right, there we go. Put that in. Excellent. And I think I'll even mirror that below with another little workshop area. There we go. All right, yeah, we've got plenty of farm capacity. Man, oh man, guys, we have got a lot done in our first episode today, but I feel like I'm definitely forgetting something. This game, there's so much to do, so many priorities to make. Oh my gosh. Oh, maybe the thing I forgot was to actually put the hatch cover down. We should do that as our final. There it is, hatch cover. Boom. Yep, the one dolomite hatch. So once that gets placed, we'll have to set up like an order, an alert, so that all the miners and the dwarves will go below ground when I tell them to, but then we can lock it off, seal it up. We'll be safe and tight below ground. And eventually, if we reach the right kind of resources down there, we can become totally self-sufficient underground, never even needing to go to the surface at all, theoretically. But either way, guys, I think this fortress has a bright future ahead of it. At least I hope it does. And like I said at the outset, if we die, which is almost eventually certain, we'll just start another fortress. I can tell that my love for Dwarf Fortress has been fully rekindled with this playthrough, so thank you for tuning in for this first one. Like I said, we're going to have many more episodes to come, so make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that bell for notifications, and like the video if you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys on the next one.